The downfall of the computer program known as Tiny Mush, or Muck or Mud or Mux. MU, as it was called, began as a prison defense, home invasion defense, or a psychiatric word to hand dislocation system for the academically inclined to deal with speds, special education students, and of course, those cafeteria congresses where the less influential in the town gathered in circles to humiliate those with actual esprit, power, and money. In other words, it's a homophobic concept at root. For 10 years, between the 90s and the turn of the century, it was used as an outlet for the pornographic industry, with female porn stars, and of course, men who liked them, and nerds hooking up to make amateur porn across the country, communicating with tells and signs and various hobby terms and cyber sex and bondage and female domination. But then something very bad happened. One of the alums of the Mush, Joe Pantalano, was sued on Heavy Metal Mush, a private server, because he wouldn't let a gay man named Larry Wachowski in with a police badge from MI6, meaning to make a movie out of Mush and then for the nascent Comedy Central network, an MI6 programming network for police rules practiced through drug dealers, Johnson's, Easy Bus, Tommy Chong, developed of course by Cheech Marin, the pilot of the program for police rules where police wouldn't bicker, therefore their subjects, the governed populace, would. So anyways, we had a law student that flunked law school because he's playing the game too much and he wants to sleep more. He's lazy. You're supposed to get 4 to 6 hours a night if you play in these games and have a job and maybe play a sport and manage a B plus overall cum or else you're out. Otherwise, you're a twink. That's the term in the mush for someone that exerts force or extorts others on the game, out of character, off the game, or through secondaries on phone lines. Anyways, he calls a cop in to make an arrest on a mass marijuana sting to get credits at his law school. So the U.S. Army notices this. It's also an NSA recruiting station since incipients of the mush. The NSA is the American Jewry. As an intelligence mercenary force, they deal in pot users and underage drunks to make them spies. Always the model of U.S. intelligence since the Civil War in the Union. The Confederacy's model of the gentleman soldier had failed. Hence, America became more lethal in misarranging the publicized news of a war versus trade deals, the proper way to take over a foreign country by offering them something they perform on labor attached to dollars and finished goods instead of raw. So their labor is being defrauded at the expense of your labor being produced of raw resource from elsewhere, the finished good. So your labor is making money for you, and they're making money for nobody collapsing themselves after the war. Anyways, so we fired Pete Zapatsaris, a Greater Boston attorney out of Winchester. Went to school at Columbia Law, was in the South for a while, and a federal defender in Manhattan. But he called in the gays, gay rights groups. Now, mushing is homophobic. It's so you can fuck up someone stupid in American culture. They took remedial courses, didn't try at school. They wouldn't blow college on a faulty degree set up by somebody else. Something like that. You know, the romantic comedy Victor. It's the romantic comedy is deliberately designed so gays and lesbians write it. Therefore, the victory is impossible. You're putting a negative sexual connotation on the happy ending, and all the cheated men and cheated women are the proper personality path courses, except for the pranks played on them, each of which empowers them to high finance. That's a proper rom-com. So the term twink went away for somebody who cheats. A big jacked man in their mind that's actually trying to force or steer or control other people through what had become called to be cliques. Actually publishing and gaming companies stealing work at such a petty rate it can't be calculated. The problem was homosexuals can't write for TV or movies or theater or video games, and they were trying to cheat using heterosexual writers' work. That's a school shooting. Doom, Quake 2, the various mods, they all followed this for Carnegie Institute and the Carnegie Mellon Fund, and all the ID software and companies like that Andrew Carnegie had set up back since the 19th century, the 1800s, to exploit labor for a sympathetic sale to reform in exchange for an investment on land returned, related to the workers' gain from the sold-out company being manipulated by family, Irish Jews with royal Swedish blood, the Swarses. Proper pronunciation. They can't make the pronunciation. Hence you spot them. So, as Mush stands, it's controlled by the Israeli Defense Forces, and everyone is bouncing from mush to mush, mass trolling. And when one of them gets a takedown, it's noted by the loyals, who then go to a vacation mush. Somebody will set up a mush, and there are dozens of people trying this, hoping it gets stolen by the U.S. military. Then you have a large arcology, and inside the arcology is people using the mush as a hiding spot before going to an IDF-governed mush until the IDF theme collapses. And meanwhile, the social architecture of the mush still teaches you to stomp on speds, social influence rings, prison tops and prison influence, and people in a psychiatric ward using informed tips or manipulation, and of course the classic, the home invasion resistance using cheated laws of crime and police together. So now the mush is populated by lesbians, people studying mushers for transsexual domination called FinDom. They're transsexuals in denial, sheriff's deputies, classically, trying to get money off people. Big women. It was for skinny women before. You'd have to use that to keep up with your schedule to even play in the mush. And of course the lowest drag of all, the gay man cop combination, the stalker. No one really seems to care on the mush either. It's for trolling. The program is for trolling to help you with those things along some rules that are impossible to mutter mush without. I'll leave those out so you can't break them. And we're getting even better at it, fucking with people. And whoever's in charge now, trying to extort twink from the top, they are getting blown away by all the writers' thefts that are going on by the queers and their social cliques. So enjoy. C'est la vie.